Welcome back to my disaster zone. I am ready to jump in and start making forward progress on this because I love how it's starting to come together, but also this chaos is driving me nuts. It's already impeded my knitting a couple times because probably for the better. I I wanted to like cast on or start something new or look into projects a few times, and I wasn't able to because I can't really reach my stash effectively. My yarn winding equipment is tied up behind this stuff. So, okay, like maybe it's for the best, but also like for my peace of mind, we got to get moving on this. Like I talked about in part one, I think next steps are to fill this bookcase with my books. The ones I already had up here are stacked in the corner over there. And then I also have 3 boxes of knitting patterns and knitting books that belong to my grandmother, who recently passed away. And I have not looked through those yet at all. So, first order of business today is to go through my own books, get them sorted, and then bring up my grandma's books, look through those, and decide which ones are going to stay out, which ones are going to be on the shelves, and how I'm going to organize them. So some of these actually already are my grandmother's that I had received earlier, specifically a lot of her Christmas patterns, so that I could make Christmas stockings from her patterns for family members that married in or were born after my grandma was unable to knit. I'm not sure how I want to sort this. I'm certainly going to have a pile of books that I need to let go of because there's some that I don't think I need around anymore. Here's the instructions for my iron. That's funny. All right, I think I'm definitely going to separate into baby patterns and not baby patterns, and then I'm certainly going to separate out like sewing from knitting, from crochet, from other crafts. I assume I have the most knitting books. And I think I want to put knitting books on this one because this is the shelf that's built in. The others are all movable. So that one's very sturdy. And also it's at a better level. Before I had to have all of my books on the bottom shelves because the shelves were going to bow and break under the weight of books, which is a stupid thing for a bookshelf to do. And they're not easy to access. So I would prefer them up higher. I'm going to try to put the knitting ones in the middle. Maybe decoratively use some of these ones that are like general crafting. First, I think I'm going to resituate myself and I am going to sort. So far we have, those are books I'm getting rid of, books about knitting, knitting magazines, knitting books, crochet books are over here. Although those are Tunisian, those are crochet magazines, those are crochet books, Victorian needlework, sewing books, needlepoint patterns, and general crafting books. But I know that this is going to get fleshed out a lot when I pull up my grandma's books. But I do want to get these out of the way. So I'm going to tentatively put these in the shelves and then go get the boxes of my grandma's books. Let's go through these together and we'll just go through my grandma's entire knitting library. All right. Whew, she's got a lot here. Okay, here's some needles. Also, I noticed there's this container full of circular needles, which is cool. Some of them, most of them are metal. I know my grandma preferred metal needles, but look, here's some nylon ones. There's some more. A full set of crochet hooks. Pink nylons. There's like a handwritten crochet pattern in here. I don't know what this makes. It's interesting. I'll have to preserve that and hold on to it and try to find out. Miss Audrey is here to help me now. Cool. All right. Well, we know I'll use those. And now the books. Knit Christmas stockings. Oh, little metal labels. Interesting. Knits for baby. Here we go. This is kind of what I was expecting. Oh, it's a bunch of little books. Each pattern is its own separate little pamphlet here. Interesting. Well, I'm going to look through these later. Interesting. Doll fashion. That's a category I wasn't prepared for. Oh, that's funny. I'm already out of room. Please. Like baby knits, that's more my speed. Look at these. Nautical knits for kids. Very specific. Oh, oh. Oh, these are cute. Okay. Lots of dishcloths. Oh, that's cute too. I'm gonna put that in the baby section. Scrubbies. Ugh. I have no interest in knitting scrubbies. I don't know about you guys. Debbie makeover. That's cute. Okay, great. More dolls. Oh, cool. That's really, I never heard of this one. The Quidditch sweater. Hey. Knitting planner. Looks like Grandma's attempt. Oh. This is actually helpful information for me because I've inherited some of her unfinished Afghans, and now I think I know who they were meant for. My intention is to someday finish the 2 Afghans, and I guess it's for my younger cousins, Emma and Ellie. It looks like Grandma had the same good intentions and poor follow-through that virtually everybody has when it comes to this sort of journaling. But I'm glad I have this. And even though I don't think that this planner's for me, this is the style pages that you can just take out. I might just keep the pages with my grandma's writing on them. Okay. Double check that later. This I've been looking forward to. I'm not going to go through this now. Oh, this says doll patterns. This is not the one I was looking forward to, but I do know my grandma has a lot of like printed patterns. Right. Baby. Cozy pillows. I like the look of that one. Oh, there's some dishcloths. She has so many of these little. Those are stinking cute. Oh, I love it. Ah. She has so many of these tiny. She had 2 of this one. Come on. This is a cute idea, but like how quaint that I could fit my yarn stash in this little book. You know I couldn't. Ooh, fancy. Designs from France. That's how you know they're fancy. Look at her gloves. She's wearing a watch over her gloves. Whole family. What did Grandma flag here? Oh, she likes this throw blanket. This dog sweater. She did not have a dog. I don't know whose sweater she was, or whose dog she was knitting a sweater for, but that's funny. More teddy bears. There's another binder of her printed stuff. She could not get enough dishcloths, this lady. More dolls. Not for me. Oh my gosh, there's more dolls in there. Oh, sewing, that's different. Holiday. Okay. Didn't we already see this one? Am I crazy? Grandma. Ooh, that is neat. Look, it looks like it's from like the 70s. Ah, I love this. This is cute. This is cute. I'll use this one. Oh, isn't that a vibe? This felted projects? Oh, that's interesting. Babies. Dishcloths. Babies. Ooh. All right, one more box. And then I have to try to figure out what to do with them all. Crafts. Not even knitting. No kid is ever that happy when you give them a knit sweater. They're always underwhelmed. We know better. That's a fun one. Interesting. Cool. I am impressed with the breadth of knitting patterns she has in here. This is insane. The rest looks like magazines. They're all packed in here so tight. Okay. Oh, they're not even. They're like books. Wait, this is familiar. So, this is the Afghan. This is the exact blanket that my grandmother has knit dozens and dozens of times. Everybody in my family has one. She's got the pattern memorized. She could crank them out without looking. You know, I know from watching her as a kid that it's knit in panels and then seamed together at the end. And I had actually previously sought out this pattern online. I bought a PDF of it on Etsy because I did some digging and I recognized it in the photo, and I bought it, but excuse me. Oh my gosh. This is the original copy that she used. Oh, I made it really far without crying, didn't I, guys? I'm gonna keep going. Oh, those are cool. I'm really interested in these vintage ones. Like, I'm more inclined to look through these. Oh wow, so intricate. I might have to break it down more specifically than just knitting because there's so many here. They're kind of already organized, aren't they? That was all hats. Many mittens. I would concur with that. Gosh, there's so many. Ooh, those are cool. Oh, Okay, I think we're in the baby section. It does seem like this last chunk of books and magazines was organized. Oh my god, are those strawberry slippers? Grandma was very interested in knitting tiny booties for babies because I don't know anybody who has like 18 books about knitting baby booties. Like, how many variations? Their feet are this big. Like, what? Okay. No shade, Grandma. I'm just saying. Seems like she has a similar habit as me. Perhaps it's a genetic habit to collect patterns more than make them. Baby, 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 baby. Grandma had a lot of grandkids and a lot of nieces and nephews, you know? So, like, it makes sense. I don't know how much sense it makes for me as someone without children to own quite this many knitting patterns for babies and children. There's some in here that are like for kids. Ooh, check out these cool kids. Wow. You know what country kids do? They eat apples. Woo! Look at these, like, super fun, like, 80s sweaters. Yeah. I kind of really like that. I don't love color work, but that's a cool sweater. That's neat. From Ames. Oh, these are so classic. And okay, well, that was productive and interesting and emotional and all sorts of stuff. So now I generally sorted them, but I do think I want to sort them further because I did not realize the extent to which my grandma was going to have books and magazines that are a specific type of pattern. She has so many that are just dishcloths or just a certain type of sweater or just mittens or what have you. Also, very pleased to see that my grandma also didn't knit socks because I don't knit socks and I don't intend to and I don't care to. And I'm glad that I didn't end up with like 1,000 sock knitting patterns, although I did end up with 1,000 baby booty patterns and I don't plan on using those because they're just socks for babies. I am going to get rid of all the ones for dolls because I don't personally like dolls and I don't intend to knit or sew any clothing for dolls. And I'm also probably not going to keep the baby booty collection. And there's probably some others that are mixed in that I don't intend to keep, but otherwise I'm going to sort through them and sort them by like topic, I guess. And I'm not going to film it because, as you know, I love to keep up my Ravelry library, my Ravelry stash. And in order to update my Ravelry library for all of these, I'm going to have to take photos of the books so I can upload that later and double check that these are all in my library, because otherwise I'm probably never going to actually remember which ones I have and get around to using them. But I'm much more likely to do so if these books are in my Ravelry library, because then any patterns in them will show up in my searches when I'm looking for something to make. So I'm going to sort these, and I'm not going to film it because I need to use my phone to catalog the books that I'm keeping, which is most of them. But I will see you once I've gotten a little farther along and I've got a system in place and we can start shelving. She knows when I'm talking to a camera. This little one always shows up when I'm rolling. Oh man. Look at that. I got a lot done. It looks terrible right now, but it's sorted, and I'll probably end up rearranging the books when I actually stage the bookshelf with like pretty things as well. But for right now, up here is just general art or crafting books. These are books about knitting and some of my grandma's Christmas patterns that I used to have. These are knitting reference books. And then here we have just knitting pattern books, which are alphabetical by author. And then here we have not alphabetical, but sort of organized. There's like baby pattern books, baby pattern magazines, and loose patterns. And then this is like garment magazines. I sorted them out. So it's like there's a chunk of washcloths, there's a chunk of Afghans, and then a bunch of accessories. So they're kind of grouped together. And then down here I have crochet books and magazines. I have a couple Tunisian crochet books and then a handful of sewing books. So I feel very good to be done going through the books, but of course I still do have a lot ahead of me. I'm going to take a break and come back to it later today. I believe the next steps are going to be to pull everything out of the closet, which is frustrating because like living with it like this, stuff all over the floor and all over every surface, it's like, how could I put more stuff in here? But the truth is that I'm not going to be able to sort it and start putting it away until I have everything out and I have somewhere to put it away. So the next step is to make more mess. I'll see you when I'm ready for that. So for the last few weeks, as I've been thrifting, trying to find the furniture that I ultimately got from the estate sale and Facebook Marketplace, I have accrued a bunch of new vintage things that I want to put in my craft room. And then also while I was going through a storage trunk I have in my dining room, I found a bunch of stuff that should be in my craft room but somehow migrated downstairs a long time ago. So my dining room table is totally covered in stuff that needs to come up. Let me show you. A lot of this is stuff from antique stores or thrift stores. I've got a whole pile of baskets over here. Some of it is stuff that came with my purchases. This was a Facebook Marketplace find. I made a special trip for all of these embroidery hoops and these little heart picture frames, which are cute. Some of these containers of sewing supplies were at that estate sale where I got the bookcase. This mirror came for free with the hutch I bought. They were just trying to get rid of some other stuff at the time. This was from an antique store. Fun, right? Just little thrift store objects that I want to stage my stuff in. So this needs to make its way up to the craft room chaos, because even though I don't want to add to the chaos right now, it will be helpful to have some like empty containers to sort things into. Well, I obviously haven't cleaned it out in its entirety. There's still stuff up there. On this side, there's stuff stacked. This side is very shallow though. It's all just leaning against the wall. I was more concerned with cleaning out this area with the step, but I am very tired and quickly losing energy, and I don't want to hurt myself overexerting, doing too much in one day. So I'm gonna leave even worse of a tornado than I found it, but I recognize that it's progress, even though it's a lot. So I'm gonna come back to it later. Whether that's today or another day, I don't know, but I'm gonna leave part 2 right here. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video if you made it this far, and I hope you subscribe to come back for future installments because I don't want this to be the last you see of my craft room. It's a horrible, ugly mess. I want you to come back when it's finished and beautiful and functional. I will see you then, okay? I'll see you in the next one. Meet me there. Don't let me down. And apparently Annie is going to help me, and together we are going to go through all of these bins of knitting and cross stitch and sewing supplies that I inherited from my grandmother's. Ooh, these are cool. I've never seen this before. Oh, this is overwhelming. Okay. None of these really have labels. So many. But there are a lot of little